it's 8 o'clock sharp, and let's get started, all right? First thing first, I want to welcome you all to the database management systems. I will be your instructor for this semester. My name is Yu-Sang Lin. I am currently a PhD candidate in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. So I think quite a few of you have seen me before, because I might have been your TA in the past. So you were already my students, and welcome to be my students again. So before we get started, I'll talk about the syllabus and then we'll go into the lecture. Before we get started, I just want to say you guys are very brave for signing up at 8 a.m. class. I think it's super hard. Come on, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But yeah, I will make sure it's worth it for you to wake up every morning this early and come here for this lecture. And even though it's super early, I will not allow any absence, all right? Just to put it clear. Okay, so let me see. Before I get into the syllabus, I think all of you have one copy of it. I want to talk quickly just about the registration. So some of the students have already written me about not being able to add this class. Last time I checked this morning, we only have 5 spots left. So if you want to add in, we still have 5 spots left. You just have to come to me, and you can fill out the add drop form, and I'll approve you. But if we have more than 5, then we have to figure out how to do that. Okay? Okay, so I'll spend around 10 minutes or 15 minutes talking about the syllabus, then we'll go into the lecture. Okay? So let's take out your syllabus, and we'll talk about what's going to happen in this semester and what are the rules. I'll just talk about these rules type of thing one time today because I think they don't sound as friendly as I am. But yeah, if you have any future questions, just refer to this one, okay? So let's look at from the very beginning. As you can see, the course side, we have a website, and also we'll have the materials up on the Angel system. If you're a new student, you might want to ask some senior students about what an Angel system is. So for this website, I made it, and I'm really proud of it. All right, so please make sure you make good use of it. I'll upload quite a few stuff, and a lot of information will be up here, like useful links and stuff. So as you can see, the class meeting time will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 o'clock to 8:50. We'll meet at this room, but this will just be for regular classes. We will also have midterm exams that will be held in the evenings, but it won't be this classroom. Also, later I'll talk about we will have project, and project has project presentations that will take actually quite a long time, and we won't do it in the regular class time as well, right? And that will be in other rooms. And to make up for that, I think I'll order food for you guys so you guys don't hate me for taking up your evening. Okay, so my office hours will be Monday and Wednesday right after the class. So if you want, we can walk back to the IC building together if you want to ask me a question. This course, unfortunately, we don't have a TA, but I am lucky enough to get an LA. Who knows what LA is? Yeah, learning assistant. So his name is Douglas Jordan. He was actually a student of mine in the past course, and he did really well, in particular the project. Their team almost duplicated like a Facebook. So I had him as my learning assistant. He will be helping out mainly for the project. If you have any question, you can ask him. He will also hold office hours, but he hasn't decided when he will hold his office hour. Also 2 hours a week. Okay, when that's decided, I'll update the syllabus online. So we have 2 midterms and a final. As you know, the final exam time will not be determined until quite late in the semester. But for midterm, I already scheduled them, and please make sure you will have time on those 2 evenings that I list. Okay, the only excuse that you can have to have makeup exam will be having another conflict with another course. If you say, I have a part-time job, I have to go, I have some other club things, I'm sorry, it has to be other course, okay? And I would like you to tell me, like, in advance so I can prepare, okay? Don't just, like, not show up and say, I had something else going on, couldn't make it, okay? So course objectives, we will introduce you guys the design, use, and application of database management systems. And you will also obtain broad knowledge and concepts of database management systems, all right? So some of you have written me emails regarding to the prerequisites. I know a lot of you, this is actually your very first semester in Penn State, so don't really worry about it. I know like on the course system they list you have to have the engineering 202, right? Like the writing course. Don't worry about it as long as you can make sure you can write in English. That's fine, okay? Textbook. I will need you guys to get this textbook, okay? Legally. And get it maybe from Amazon or the bookstore. I just got the used one, so you don't have to buy a new one for that. Or you can rent it. I don't mind. Okay. Second page. The lecture format. It's gonna be a little bit different from other courses that you will attend. I will have the slides, some words being taken out. So you will have to attend the lectures to be able to know what the words are in those blanks. That's one way of me like forcing you guys to come to the class. So I will have the lecture slides printed out instead of uploading and then have you print it out. And the main reason is because sometimes I'll work until the last minute. So I want to make sure that you guys don't get the older version or something. But if you are someone who prefers to take notes on your tablets or your laptop, you can email me and let me know so I'll print less, all right? Also, let me see. Grading policy. We have 3 exams, as I said before, and in total the exams are 40%. Because it's 40%, so the way I assign it is super weird. It's 13 for each midterm and then 14 for the final. Because I feel like I don't want to make the final weighing more, because in the end you will actually focus more on the project or you have other courses. Yeah?
Is the final comprehensive?
Yeah, so it will be accumulative, but not like, but it will mainly focus on the newer materials, right? Also, team project. In the past, this course was designed in a way that the team project actually weighed quite a lot less than the exam, but I do value what you will learn from the project, so I only have the 5% less. And for the team project that I will get into a bit more later and also on Friday, you will have 3 phases that you will need to do. Phase 1 only take 5%, and phase 2, 10%, phase 3, 20%. Okay. And for the homework assignments, as you can see, we actually have 6 homeworks throughout the semester, not that much. And they take up the 15%. So actually, I will only count 5 out of 6 of the assignments. So if one of them you do really bad, that's fine. We can drop it at the end of the semester. Okay? And quizzes. Quizzes is something you really want to be careful of. We will have 10 quizzes throughout the semester, and that will be, all of them will be not announced. So they will be pub quizzes. If you don't come to the class and the quizzes happen, I'm sorry, then it's a 0. Okay? But if you do have anything that you think you can't make it to the lecture with like a reasonable excuse, you can email me the day before, okay, 5 p.m. before the class, and let me know. Maybe you have a doctor appointment, you really cannot make it, or your, I don't know, car broke down. I had that before, and I feel bad saying no. So, okay. So if you look at the grading scale, you actually have to work quite hard to get an A, but we have lots of extra credit, so you don't have to worry about that. And one of the extra credit will be the impression I got from the lecture. So if you are someone who's very aggressive, raising hand, answering my question, I have a super good impression of you, even if you, in the end, you got B+, I might boost it up to A-. Okay, so that would be the grading policy. So I want to make the grading policy really just transparent and clear. So throughout the semester, you can trace your progress on Angel System, so you can see where you are compared to other students as well. Okay. Any question for the grading policy, or think it's super harsh? Yeah?
Do you give curves on your lectures?
We'll see. I really don't know how you guys will do, but if in the end everyone's kind of I don't know if the distribution is not as ideal, I'll adjust it. But for now, stick to this, okay? Homework, as I said before, we will have 6 throughout the semester. And one thing you might think I'm super annoying about the homework is I will ask you guys to all write on a letter-sized paper. I have things like napkins turned into me before, and I don't want that. Not only is like super hard to collect, super hard to grade as well, and I might lose it or something. I want a letter size, so try not to use any crazy shapes of papers. Also, I want you to staple on the top left corner. That's a kind of a stupid rule, but I have students who didn't staple before and just like roll it to me, or, you know, and this is a bad example today. So yeah, I want you guys to staple it, top left corner. You can staple it in the center, I don't care, but just kind of, you know, making the rule clear. And for the exams, I think I kind of covered it already. Those 2 times I want you to make sure you can, you will be available. And as I said at the very bottom of page 2, so if you really cannot make it, unavoidable situation, please inform me at least 1 week in advance of the midterm. Let me know, and then I'll make a makeup exam for you. Okay? Let's go to page 3. So, a big part of this course will be the project. You'll be forming a team from 4 to 5 people into work on a project. So, for the project, you will, I will talk about it more on Friday. And if you are interested, you can look it up on the description I posted on Angel, or later on I'll click through the project tab. Basically, you will be creating an online store with your teammates, using the knowledge you learned from this class, okay? So the project, you will have to write project report, 3 phases, and you will have to make project presentation, 3 phases as well. And you will have to make demonstration to the learning assistant, okay? So he will be the one to kind of help you out and track your progress along the semester. So you will show him where you're at, and every phase we will tell you what you are supposed to achieve, okay? And those things we'll get in a bit more on Friday. And because, does anyone know what the 431W mean? It's for writing. So this course we actually emphasize quite a lot on writing. So when you turn in the documents, of project documents, I will expect you to have high quality documents, not like something just everything in bullet points, okay? Just I want you to have well-written paragraphs and everyone work on it together to make sure it makes sense and it can address your project really well, okay? Let me see. Okay, last few things. So as I said before, participation is very important in this course. I will expect you to come to every class. If you get lucky on that class you didn't come and there's no pop quizzes, then we will forget about it, but normally you don't get that lucky. So if you really have excuse that you cannot come, and that's a reasonable excuse, as I said before, please email me, or here I say TA, but we don't have a TA. So just email me 5 p.m. the day before, okay? Also, late policy, we don't accept any late submission. So everything has to be turned in on time. For the homework, you will turn in hard copies in class. Okay, so every due date will be the lecture date, so you just turn in class. And for anything you have to submit electronically, you guys will see that Angel has drop boxes. I'll set the deadline, so you just make sure you turn in before the deadline. Otherwise, the Dropbox will, I don't know, will disappear or just not allow you to submit anymore. Okay? And communication, please send me email via Angel. And I have students before Facebook messaged me, tweeted me, texted me. Please don't do that. It's kind of hard to collect. I want them to all be in one place. So yeah, send me and the learning assistant through Angel system. Okay? I think, also one pretty exciting thing. We actually have all the lectures recorded. We have Ty over there helping us out. He will also waking up early every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and come to the lecture with you guys to record the lectures. A couple of reasons I want to record it. First is because I want to make sure I have a good quality lecture. So I'm kind of forcing myself. Another reason is because I personally don't remember things by just listening to them once. So I always thought it would be nice if my instructors have them recorded. So I'll put them on the website so you guys can also go back to watch it if you forget anything or if you want to review anything. Okay, I hope that'll be helpful. So also, because we're recording, if you raise your hand or anything, you will be recorded. Some people might think it's not ideal. Some people might get quite excited about it. If you say some really, I don't know, amazing thing, that will get recorded and you can save it up. Okay, so just really quick before we get into the lecture. So this is the course website. I have the link on the syllabus. So I think the most important thing will be the schedule right here. So when you go back, or if you have a laptop now, you can click on it. I'll keep updating it if anything changes. So here I have columns of what topics will be covered in this week and whether you'll have to turn in homework and what are the things that you're supposed to do in terms of projects and then exams. Okay, so this will keep being updated if anything changes. But for now, I'll try to stick to this schedule. Let me see. Yeah, so that will be it. And when you go back, you can take a look at the project part. I've written quite a lot about the project. So if you have any question, feel free to email me and ask me what does that mean or what do you expect by saying that. One thing I'll just go through really quick. You will have to have a GitHub account, and another is an Asana. If you don't know what it is, you can go back to Google it. It's like a project management tool. So when you work on a project with your teammates, it will be a lot easier to track who's responsible for what. And it's also easier for me and DLA to see how you guys are doing. So this will be it. And yeah, I won't cover this too much today. But one thing to note before I start the lecture is that I would expect you right after this class to start walking around and find your teammates, because we want you to have the team ready by Friday. Okay? So 4 to 5 people. Just look around and see who you think you will get along with him, and then find him after the class. If you have any trouble forming your team, you can definitely email me and I'll help you out. Okay? So let's get started on our course. So the way I'll organize the lectures will be, I'll put the slides by lecture. I won't put them by chapter. Okay, so every lecture we just have one set of slides. Yeah, if you're missing any of the pages, I know it's kind of confusing. Come on and fetch them. So since I guess most of you will be writing on the hard copies today, so make sure you have a pen. If you don't have one, please borrow from people sitting near you. All the slides have 2 sheets. One copy of them.
So it's 1 page.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, now, so for today's lecture, what I will be covering will be the overview for this course, what you would expect to learn from this course, and also we'll try to motivate ourselves for getting excited for this course. Okay, so some of the motivation for studying database management systems. And then I'll briefly talk about 3 types of data models that we will get in a bit deeper on Wednesday. Okay. So the emphasis of this course, we will talk about the design of database application, which will be the main focus for your project as well. And then we move on to talk about the use of database management systems. So DBMS stands for Database Management System. Then finally, we'll talk about how a database management system works. The thing is, because this is a 400 level course, so we won't get into much of how the database works. But if you are more interested after this course, you can go take the 500 level one. I'm not sure whether it'll be open next semester, but that's the focus of the grad level course. So the organization of this course, this is following the textbook's chapter. Okay, so you can see the numbers are the chapter numbers. Oh, I forgot to say the slides are based on the slides from the publisher and the previous professor, but not completely, just kind of based on it. So this is the organization of this course. As you can see, we will start from the foundations that are introduction in the conceptual design, relational model, and relational algebra and calculus. If you don't know what they are right now, that's fine. We'll get into them really quickly. So from chapter 1 to 4 is what you will be learning for midterm 1. Okay, so until midterm 1, that's what we will cover. Then after chapter 4, we actually jump all the way to 19 for schema refinement, functional dependencies, and normalization. This will be one of your biggest tasks for phase 2 for your project. So we will learn that first instead of learning these. After 19, we'll jump back to learn, I think everyone knows or everyone expects to learn SQL from this course. So that will be in chapter 5. And this textbook is actually, it's classic, so it's pretty old. So at that point, they only teach until SQL. Has anyone heard of NoSQL? Okay, so this will be a new material for this semester. It hasn't been covered in the past, but I think it's kind of the thing right now, so we have to add it. So after SQL, I'll add a lecture or a couple of lectures on NoSQL. And for your project, you are free to choose whatever database you want to use, but NoSQL will kind of be away from the theories we taught. So, okay, after chapter 5 will teach you chapter 6 and 7, mostly on applications. So until that will be for midterm 2, okay? Then finally, getting to a bit more background stuff, we will talk about chapter 8, 12, and 16. So that will be all the way to final. Okay, clear? All right. So today we'll talk about chapter 1, just a little bit of chapter 1, okay? More like a fun chapter to give you some background knowledge of database management system. Okay, so this is exactly the part that I want to try out how filling the blanks will work. If you think I'm being annoying, then let me know, because some parts I seriously took them out just for the sake of taking them out. I want to see how that will work. So also for the blanks, feel free, no, not feel free, please raise your hand if you know the answer. You guys know what benefits you can get by raising your hand? Just good impression from me. That's it. And that's pretty important. Okay, so who knows? Database is a storage of what? Everyone knows? Awesome. Okay, put that down. Okay, so this slide's gonna be super encouraging, guys. Maybe not for the second line, because today when I reviewed them, I was like, why did I take them out? It's kind of silly. So database maintains a very what and what collection of data. Yeah.
Large organized collection of data.
Wow. Yeah. Large. Second one is closed though. Systematic. Close. Start with an I. Mm-mm. Almost. Okay, I think this is annoying. It's very integrated. Okay, later on they will make sense. The one I took out. So yeah, database is a storage of data, and it maintains a very large and integrated collection of data. I think for now you would think, why integrate it? But It will make more sense later. So the database models a real-world enterprise by using two components right here. So this will be mostly, because we have different kind of data models. So here, the one I talk about will mainly refer to relational data model that I'll briefly talk about later. So two components that we will use, the first one is called entities, okay? And I want you to guess the second one. Any John in this class? You are John, okay. You are John as well. So you guys are taking this course. So what is it between John and this course? There is a what? Yep. So two components, entities and relationships. Doing well. Okay, so this is for database. So a database management system is a software package designed to store and manage database. And that's what we will learn throughout the whole semester. Okay? Sound useful? Okay, so there are many database applications. I'll just list them here. I won't have you fill them out. So for banking, for example, transactions, you go to the ATM machine to deposit something, to withdraw something, you can deposit. That would be example for banking. Another one will be airlines for booking flights, looking up flights. And universities, that's a perfect example for you guys signing up courses. There's like a well-maintained database behind. You don't expect them to get messed up, like you sign up for this course and the next day they switch to another one. Okay? And then sales and manufacturing, they kind of go hand in hand because now we have the online shops. So sales and manufacturing are kind of like Amazon.com. Okay? Then finally, human resources. For example, in a company, the departments, they will have to have budgets for hiring people, so they will need database to maintain that. And also, they would need to maintain the records for employees. Okay? So the list goes on. Anyone have any other example of database application? Or this is too comprehensive?
Hospital,
Hospital, like
medical system.
maintaining the doctors and patients and injuries. Yeah, I guess. Okay, so before we get to the next slides, why do you guys think we need database management system? How do you normally store your data? Just like in files, right? If you have a bunch of pictures, you kind of create your folders and then you have your own way of defining the path, put them in the file system. Then why do we need it? So for a file system, as I said before, that's bad. Okay, forget about it. Okay, it's a collection of individual files. They're just like giving you some hints right there. Okay, so yeah, file system is a collection of individual files accessed by application programs. So as I said before, you might have your pictures stored in your own file system. Another way, like we normally store, for example, your slides you downloaded from the course website, you have your own way of defining them into the file system. Computer file system, a database management system, is a computerized record keeping system. Okay, that sounds tricky. But can anyone tell me why we would want to use a database management system instead of file system? What are the drawbacks that you can think of? Yeah.
Like file system that cannot handle a massive amount of data at the same time.
Yeah, that's one reason. So database management system might be able to manage bigger size of files. Anything else?
Looking out for like data or some relations between two entities or something.
File system will be
any
hard.
drawback that you want to make from the data.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say sometimes you store data in one way in the file system, but later on you want to retrieve them from a totally different kind of perspective. By looking at the relationships, then that's kind of hard, right? Because you can't remember how to trace back to the past and stuff. So the drawbacks I'll give you right here is, first of all, the separated and isolated data of file system. As I said earlier, all the files are not related when you store them in the file system, right? You won't say, oh, this is related to that file in what folder, okay? So they're kind of separated and isolated, so it's kind of difficult to coordinate data when they have relationships. The second reason will be data duplication. Okay, sometimes in order to make sure to manage different kind of relationships between files, so you just have duplicates of them. What if you change one, then the other one doesn't change, right? They are not linked together. So this will also create waste space and inconsistency, okay, for this duplication problem. Another reason, another drawback will be application program dependencies. This is kind of similar to this last one, incompatible files. So for using file systems, sometimes you store, different OS has different kind of file format, then maybe they are very application dependent. When you move on to another application or move on to another OS, it will not work anymore. So it's a lot easier to use database management system, okay? But I won't stop you from storing photos in just file system. Oh, got it? All right. So, this is really bad covering. So why use a database management system? So the first reason, we just talked about the drawbacks, and now I want to talk about why, what are the good things about database management system. The first thing is data independence. So what I mean by data independence is that the developers of application don't have to know how the data are actually stored in the disk, or how the representation of the data really is. You just have to know the higher level data model of the database management system. Then the developer will be able to retrieve and use data from the system. Okay? So that's what I mean by data independence. The second reason will be efficient access. So this will mainly relate to retrieving data from the database. So a lot of times you have a bunch of data stored in the database and you want to retrieve them by using some queries, using some criteria, some comparison. It's hard to imagine how you would do that on the file system, right? Maybe you have to look through all the files, trace the path, and then to compare the contents or compare the file name. But with database management system, they already took care of a lot of the background comparison and queries techniques. So it's a lot more efficient. Another thing is data integrity. So this will relate to the later concept that we will introduce. It's called integrity constraint. So what I mean by integrity constraint is that, for example, the department is going to hire some new faculty, but they don't have enough budgets. So you have to make sure every time you want to hire someone, you check whether it will fulfill the constraint. Okay, so different kind of scenario have different kind of integrity constraint. Also, if it's on an online shop, a user is registering as an online member, then you want to check whether the address they put in is valid. That's another integrity constraint. So it's super business or application dependent. Another reason will be security. It's a lot easier to maintain or to manage the permission or access control in database management system. Okay, so for example, as instructor, we can see more data than you guys in terms of the course system, right? And plus, the department can see even more than us. So that's the permission level, like the hierarchy. So with database management system, it's easier to maintain that and control that. Another is data administration. I would say this will come in, for example, I'm an online shop owner. This will be easier for me to administrate the data. I don't think that's a really good example, but just data administration is a lot easier on database management system than file system. The other one is more interesting, I think. It's the concurrent access. So, for example, I was booking the flight back home the other day, and I was thinking, yeah, this is like a perfect example for concurrent access. For example, when you book the flight, then you move on to the next step and select your seats, right? For example, if they do a really bad job on concurrent access, you book the seat, and the other person booked the exact same seat at the same time. And then next time, when you finally get on the plane, like 2 people are going to sit on the same seat, and that's a bad concurrency control, right? Another reason, another thing will be, for example, you share a bank account with someone else, and let me see. If you are going to withdraw a lot of money from it, and it's actually going to take them mostly out, and the other person is also going to take money out, and the original amount of money actually cannot let both of you guys take out the money. Okay? If the concurrent access is bad, then I don't know, you two earn more. So the bank loses. Yeah, what an example. Okay, then next one will be recovery from crashes. So crashes are kind of unavoidable. Sometimes they happen, and database management systems are better at recovering the crashes. The last thing is reduce application development time. I have more personal experience with this because at the very beginning I have all my data for research stored in the file systems. And it's super annoying to retrieve the data from the program every time, figuring out, oh, how did I store that? How did I store that? And then in the end, it's just taking too much development time. But if you have a really nicely stored data set in the database management system, retrieving them from the program is a lot easier. As you can imagine, the Facebook will not store their data in the file system, right? Oh, this is that person's folder and then trace. Now they post this 2015, 2014. No, they will not do that. They would do it with the database management system, and there's a reason for that. Okay, so as I said, I want to talk about data models. So a data model is a collection of high-level constructs for describing stored data that hides low-level storage details. There are three major data models. Who can answer any of these? Do you think you will know? Actually, you can just flip to the later pages. What is the first one? Network. Network data. Excellent. What's the second one? Hierarchy. And then third one? Relation. So the relational one will be the one we focus on throughout the semester. That will be the theories we teach. For network and hierarchical, we'll just kind of talk about it and let you know they existed because they were kind of like the ancestors for relational data model. So you will not be required to completely understand what a network data model is or a hierarchical data model is, but when you see the graph representation of them, you should be able to identify, this is a network model, this is a hierarchy. So for example, this one is a network data model. The main idea, this is the earliest data model introduced and proposed. So the main idea for this one is we have so many different kinds of entities and they store different attributes. And with the links, we link them to create the relations between them. Okay? So what do you think data records are linked as what? It looks like nothing.
Link as in the data structure, I guess? Like link as in like the data structure you're talking about, or what?
Yeah.
Link list?
Yeah, I think calling a linked list is kind of suitable, but the material says it's a graph. Yeah, it's more, compared to the later one, it's more like a graph. The later on when you see the other one, you'll see, yeah, this is more graph-like. Okay, the next one is a hierarchical data model. So different from the other one, right? You can see it has more of a hierarchy structure there. So what kind of, let's say, data structure do you think this is? Yes. So it's different from graph, right? This is more like a tree. Okay. Lastly, I want to talk about relational data model, but I won't give you a visual representation of it because I want to save that for next time. Relational data model. So this is the focus of this semester. Even though you won't really use this later on if you decide to go for NoSQL in your project, but this is a very important concept that is still considered as the mainstream in database field. So The relational data model is the most widely used data model today. The main concept is that relation is basically a table with rows and columns. So you can imagine storing all your data into tables, and then you just say this table is related to, okay, so table A relates to table B by what relation? For example, you have a table storing all the employees' information, another table storing all the department's relation, and then you can say the employee table works for the department table. Make sense? So every row that we call it a relation, and works in the concept is a relationship. Okay? So that would be the tricky part that you don't want to get confused. So what is a relation? Is a row, and what is a relationship? The relationship between two tables. Is that confusing? So, relation, we will say relation you consider as a table, but we also call like each row a relation. Okay? So every relation has a schema. So an example of the schema would be right here. Okay, so as I said before, this will be the student example, not employee. So for students, if you want to define what will be stored in the students table, then you will have to initialize with the schema first. So for example, we want to store the student ID. In the student ID, we store them as a string. And we store the name also as a string. And login, what does it mean? Login, I guess it's last login time, maybe. And you can either save it as a string or a time. And age is integer, GPA, real number. So anyone can spot any flaw in this design that you think it's better to not have or have something else instead of that one. One of the attributes, not a really good attribute to store in the database management system. Yeah.
The login,
Why is that?
it's a security compromise.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's a good reason. But no, okay, not that one.
Age,
Yeah, why?
age or name, like when the ID is there, so how, like ID is unique, so why do you require a name or a age of the person?
But then where do you store the name?
Okay, you can have the name, remove the age.
Okay, Birdie, do you know why? Oh, that's too deep for now, but that's right, that's correct. Yeah, so they're saying the student ID should be unique, but we will talk about it later. So now we just put it simple, yeah.
Because the age is going to change every year.
Exactly, so what should we store instead?
Data correct.
Yeah, so age, because it changes every year. So if you store the age, it's kind of annoying that every year you have to refresh everyone, right? Update everyone. So if we just store the date of birth, that's a lot easier. In the application, when you need the age, just compute it and that's it. Okay? Yeah, a good news. I think I'll let you guys go kind of early today, 5 minutes early. But before we do that, so don't forget, I want you to, when you go back, I want you to sign up 2 accounts. So one will be for GitHub, and one will be for Asana, okay? If you don't know what Asana is, if you don't know what GitHub is, look online. I have the link in the course website. Also, form your team. So we can actually use this time to form the team. Okay, find whoever you want to be in the team, 4 to 5 people, okay? And submit your team by Friday. Calm down, not done yet. Wait. And we have reading, okay? Reading, so read from section 1.1 to 1.5, so that, you know, on Wednesday when you come in class, you know better. And also, I have already uploaded the project description on Angel, so you can go and read through it. It's quite long. I think I wrote all the way up to 8 pages, but you can the first 2 or 3, and then see whether you have any question that we can discuss on Friday. Okay? Okay, that will be it for today. I'll see you on Wednesday.